that should be that. Done and sorted. And I'm just going to open up a Twitch doodad for your channel. Edbot. Check this Among Us streaming from 3 hours ago, and it looks very much like the monkey game. Not Among
Possibly.
Us.
You're the best at renaming my thingies. And I started it up, and I was like, I don't care about this. No, come on, I'm doing something else. So then I get onto yours, don't I? Where are you? How do I even watch?
You haven't gone live yet, have you? Or maybe Twitch just needs to.
Oh, you haven't. You've gone for me big rather than the side to side. Let me go live and then start streaming. And you should be there you go. You should be seeing me anytime now.
I can't get away. Reload. Oh, I can hear that rain getting a bit more insistent.
There you go. I've advertised on the Discord. And I'm over here, and so I'm looking. We've got you open, but nice and quietly. Yep, you're muted. We've got this open. There we go. Rolling.
Good to go.
Well, there's a little part of me now that feels that we could do introductions, but of course we introduce ourselves to nobody, and then by the time we have an audience, we've moved long beyond that. So I guess for the moment we just enjoy our own comics-based conversation until one of our chats comes along and says, "Tell us about Invincible. Tell us about Daredevil," and we'll say, "Nah, we're not such. We're not the right." However, I realise, of course, occasionally there'll be a little bit of drilling or random noise in the background.
Well, that happens when bathrooms get repaired. I still can't believe the damage you did to your toilet with that one poo.
You know, when you got powerful as me. But hey, this isn't comics.
No, it's not. What shall we be discussing about comics today? Have we got a theme?
I'll tell you
topic?
What,
Have you got a comic in mind?
Well, sort of. It's not exactly specific to a comic, but it was something I pulled a comic off the shelf. I pulled one of these pop guns. Okay, so this is also going to be where we start plugging comics. So I pulled one of these pop guns off the shelf. Now, to me, that looks mirrored, but I'm imagining that it's just mirroring it to make me feel more comfortable. And
Maybe.
to you and the rest of the world, it looks normal.
Yes.
Cool beans. I'm still learning the ways of cameras. So this is pop gun, and Brad, I think you know what these are?
Not sure, actually, so explain it for me and everyone else.
So it's pop gun. It's like a compendium. It's a collection of short stories, but obviously comics.
Yeah.
But being a collection, the back covers are always quite cool. They always make them look like cassette tapes.
Nice.
And like they're chunky. I don't know if that gives you an idea of
I'm sure I've seen them on shelves. Yeah, they're quite thick tomes.
But here you go. Looking at the back, just get a feeling. So do you see how that list there is? It says featuring, and then there's a list of tiny names.
It's a big long list, yeah.
Exactly, the power of compendium. You know, you get the compendium, you read it, maybe you discover a new artist or a new writer that you really love. But from this, oh wow, that's great. As I was sort of flicking through it, wondering which story shall I read or enjoy, I hit one page, and I'm seeing if I can just crack open to it now. And what I know is, here you go, there it is. And this absolutely gets onto the point I want to make. Earlier on, when I was clicking through, I saw this page.
Hang on, let me make you a bit bigger so I can see it. But yes, what about it?
Yep. Instantly, I looked at it and thought, Thomas Scioli, because I looked at the art and instantly knew the artist. I then went and checked, and yes, it was Thomas Scioli. The reason I know Thomas Scioli is because he did a series called Godland.
Which I have read some of.
If I just open up the page, you can see maybe you
Very
can
similar
kind of
style, yeah.
Right. So this is what I want to sort of get onto. It's that element of how do
Style.
some artists manage to have a style so characteristic that you can recognize their art instantly.
Well, I
Now,
mean, how do
I
they do it? By lots of practice and, you know, sort of crafting and learning how they want to draw things, but why it can be so iconic, who knows?
this is it. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's artists out there that some artists I don't know how to say this, but some artists are like more instantly recognizable than others. Like I like to think that if you saw, and this is gonna be a bit of a name rattle off now, but if you saw some art by Mike Mignola, you'd clock Mike Mignola's art pretty quickly.
Yeah.
For me
What-
anyway, if I see any art by Frank Quitely,
Yeah.
if I see any face by Frank Quitely, I know it's him. Like instantly. Mike Allred is another one. The guy that did Madman is another one for me. His sort of art style is very recognizable.
Yeah, it's sort of like a particular flair. Even if they're doing two characters that are designed very differently, you can still see that it's the same artist. I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, I'm sure I've seen, because it's something that I quite enjoy. I'm sure I've said to you before, like seeing other artists drawing their own, like the Usagi book, wherever that is, I could grab him, but like where other artists draw other artists' creations or characters, and I really do enjoy seeing like the different styles that people bring. It's, but as to like how they get it recognizable,
it's sort of, it's a weird quality to have in someone's art style, because to say, oh, this artist has a very identifiable style, and it's kind of another axis, unrelated to good or bad, or like soft or harsh, or other sort of polarizing things you could have in an artist, if you know what I mean. But it's what is, I guess here's another way of saying this, what is it that makes it so recognizable? How is it that you can look at someone's art style and go, oh, it's them? Like, what? Yeah,
I mean, it's a combination of things. It's not just one thing. It's how they draw. It's more fundamental than just this particular artist is recognizable because they always do this one thing. It's because looking at anything they draw, you can see that it's been drawn by them, like the process of creation, I guess.
But here's what I find then. Here's maybe where my controversial statement's going to come along. I believe that like an artist, you could look at as little as a page of their work, a panel of their work, and be able to say, that artist. Whereas I think you could read 10 pages of an author and not necessarily know which author you're reading.
Yeah, I feel that's literally just sort of admitting that you don't understand words as well as you understand pictures, because they're both art and they're both artists that have their own style. Like, perfect example. Okay, Wheel of Time, great series. I love it. Huge series, and the original author, actually passed away before he finished writing the series. So another author was chosen before his passing to finish writing the series with his notes and his editor. And the first book written by him, you can very definitely see, and like I'd say less than a page, less than the introduction, which I don't know, it's epic fantasy. It could have been more than 10 pages, but very quickly you know that he's writing in a similar style, but it is not the
So
same
I
author.
guess using this example, then the Wheel of Time example, I guess my question would have been if let's say there's 15 books, and on book 12, the Robert Jordan stops writing it, and let's say they say we have a new author to finish it off. It's mystery author. We're not telling you who it is, but don't worry, you're going to be all right. Like how, like you could obviously maybe reading it, you could read it and go, well, it's obviously not the original writer. But with writing, how easy would it be, or how hard, or how plausible would it be to reading these books by mystery author for you to work out it was Brandon Sanderson? Like, I
I
can very
mean,
much agree that a different author would immediately sort of sound different or feel different in their writing, but it's I guess the word I'm looking for is idiosyncrasy. Whereas with art, maybe it's I guess maybe I'm wondering, is it easier for artists to be more idiosyncratic than it is for writers?
I think I'd say yes and no. Yes, because the artists, the sort of visual artists, they're not necessarily hampered by having to tell an engaging story.
Yeah, because they can draw a picture, and even if it's just a picture of character, you can still go, that's so and so.
That's a cool picture, and I can see from how it's been done.
I can tell from the lumpy face that it's Frank Quitely. Oh man, poor old Frank Quitely is going to get such a bashing from me as we do this. Any chance I get,
I agree. There's something slightly weird about his faces, but I quite enjoy his art in general. All Star Superman, I really enjoyed.
If he could do, I think he did something once where there wasn't people in it, and I was quite comfy with it. There was something familiar about it, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Then I was like, oh, it was Frank Quitely, was it? That was, but that was all right.
Yeah, but that was We Three with the dog, the cat, and the rabbit.
Yes, it was. Oh, that's so old now. Like, this is what I realized. Like, half of my collection here is like random stuff from people's like early careers, But then, okay, I would say then, at least sort of swinging back around to writers in comics anyway, if it came to comics writers, I would find it easier to identify the writer less from the sort of the individually used words and more from theme, topic, like content, style, that kind of stuff. Like if there's going to be a lot of back and forth banter dialogue, I'd be saying, oh, it's Brian Michael Bendis. If there was a lot of like techno wizardry, I'd be saying, oh, it's Grant Morrison. If there was a gratuitous amount of like sex and violence, I'd be saying it's Garth Ennis. But that's just sort of I said Grant Morrison already, didn't I? Like this is it. I know sort of, a little bit. Like you can say, oh, if it feels like you're reading a comic that's basically a storyboard for an action movie, you're reading Mark Millar. If it all seems,
Brian Azzarello.
Then I'm reading gangster stuff. If there's a bunch of gang stuff going on and all the men are hard,
dirty cops,
and all the ladies have,
are femme fatales.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then it's Brian Azzarello all the way. I was just thinking what I'd be saying for Frank Miller, and I would just be saying gritty. Just is it dark and gritty? Then it's
gritty
Frank
and
Miller.
American.
Yeah, Frank Miller all the way. I don't want to be getting too keen to be getting all up and inside of what's his name, Robert Kirkman, but like, does it feel like a really well executed and slightly innovative idea? Oh, then it's Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I thought Robert Kirkman was going to be the new god of comics, but I feel like it didn't happen. But I do feel like Robert Kirkman's name should be like he did. I felt like he did a good solid job when a good solid job needed doing. He might not have changed anything like Alan Moore, You know,
Yeah, he's not been as revolutionary perhaps as some of the other larger names in comics, but he's, like you say, he was putting out a very solid amount of works during a time when, I mean, there was the usual Marvel DC flow, but
yeah, we're talking about the other star. But no, I agree. Like, it's
he somewhat carried Image for a while. If he still doesn't.
Yeah, like this shelf here, this one here that my hand is wibbling around in, this is Image. In fact, Image goes all the way off to halfway down that shelf, and from The Walking Dead, which is about here, there you go, from The Walking Dead all the way to Saga, that's Robert Kirkman. And that's not all The Walking Dead, like, but this is pretty much Robert Kirkman's entire body of work. Maybe I'm missing, like, Super Dinosaur? Nope, that's down there in the smaller books. But, you know, it's more or less Robert Kirkman's body of work, and he churned it out. But what's he doing now? Like, what's he doing now? Is he just sitting back?
Well, he's possibly, I don't know, but hopefully he might have been involved in the production of the Invincible animated series. Although, isn't there supposed to also be like a live-action film of it coming?
I would kind of hope not. Like, I don't see why they couldn't do it. Like, Invincible was never so far off the rails that I don't think you couldn't do it. Like, you'd need a budget. Like, you know, 'cause you've got a lot of
the Martian squid monsters. They're pretty off the hook.
I mean, yeah, but you could easily, like, I'm thinking, like, between prosthetics, like, when you've got someone walking around with, like, a bunch of them on him, all you have to do is just make a bunch of prosthetics
and then you CGI the swarm. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly. Like, that would be very doable. Ooh, go on then. Casting comics. Like, give me a couple of top picks for casting comics for Invincible. Like, who do we put in the live action one? Who plays? I don't know, like Omni-Man or someone.
We could have like Henry Cavill, although he might be too well known as Superman, but he'd make a good Omni-Man.
Man, we need someone like big, like, and slightly older. Like, you want who's
Henry
the new
Cavill?
Tom Selleck? I'd want like, because you want someone like you want someone that could be a dad. You know, you want. Could this be Tom Hanks's first opportunity to play an evil role?
Would he want to?
Well, Omni-Man isn't exactly evil, right? Like, Omni-Man's...
Well, yeah, he's not exactly evil, correct.
Like, I'm pretty sure if I go through all of that and was, like, marked out, like, at which point, you know, sort of worked out, he spends less time evil than he spends less time on the baddies team than he does on the goodies team. But this is one of the brilliant things about Robert Kirkman, at least on his Invincible superhero work, was that it was never goodies and baddies. Like, I pretty much would say there's a lot of times when it's just a lot of differing opinions. We need him older. Like, I mean, do it 10 years maybe, but we need those grey temples. He needs that. Like, I couldn't quite believe he was a dad yet.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yes, a bit of grey at the temples.
And I know they could grey him, you know, but like, I feel like there must be some relatively buff actor who's just beginning to get a bit too old for like action hero work, but isn't so old that he couldn't suit our purposes.
The Rock?
No, you know who The Rock plays?
Alan the Alien.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that would be brilliant. Yeah, because Alan comes out hench and like
and gets more.
Yeah, The Rock. Oh yeah, done, sold. Right, Alan the Alien, The Rock, absolutely.
Yeah,
Rock.
I quite like that.
Whether we make it this year or in 10 years' time when Henry Cavill's ready to be Omni-Man, I would say that The Rock would be a solid choice all the way. I'm happy with that. I feel like we have successfully cast someone. We should keep a record of this somewhere.
The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Alan the Alien. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, no, totally. I can see it already. Next time I read Invincible, I'm going to be reading it, hearing The Rock's voice for Alan. Who's voicing Alan the Alien in the anime series?
I was just thinking that Alan. I should know this because I think it's very good
J.K. Simmons
casting.
for Omni-Man. Boom! Like, he will sound the perfect part. Like, he will sound so good for it.
I think. Pretty sure it's Seth Rogen.
Let's see, I can see some Seth Rogen.
Yeah. It's got a bit of that sort of. You know, it's very rare that Alan the Alien is being 100% serious. I can see that sort of Seth Rogen, sort of just joking around.
Yeah, friendly love.
Attitude. Yeah, exactly. Buddy. Yeah, because he is Invincible's buddy.
Oh yeah. Well, it's how we meet Alan, of course, proving why Invincible is better than Omni-Man. Like, he turns up and he's like, wait. You know, let's have a chat. And he's like, what? I've been coming here for decades. We come along, we have a little fight. So you the new guy? And he's like, wait, where do you think this is? Earth? No, this is Earth. Not Earth? No, it's Earth. Oh. If Nolan just had that conversation like decades ago, though.
Just stop to talk. See, it's the youth of tomorrow who are our heroes today. Maybe.
Well, this is it though. Like, one of his first problems, Invincible solves by talking, but it's not before long where Invincible just starts getting sick and tired of talking and starts solving problems with his fists. But you know, Viltrumite problems are generally only solved with fists.
Yeah, they don't seem to do too much thinking, it must be admitted. Zachary, come to join? What's this?
Yeah, it's, and I was kind of, the reason one of the other things I got excited about Robert Kirkman was all the stuff he did, like, around, the Invincible world. You know, he's got a tech jacket, the
Brits!
And, like, there was, like, one book for each of his other ideas. And it's just, I don't know, like, none of his ideas seem to be like anything revolutionary or turning it on its head or changing the way that we're going to do superhero comics, anything like this. But it all just seemed so fresh.
Yeah.
And I suppose after, when you get into the superhero stuff, either someone does a superhero story and it's totally like in its own box, telling its own little story, and it's making a point about superheroes or something, or it's Marvel and DC, where their superhero worlds are so
established
and full of stuff. God knows, like, each one's had to reboot themselves 5 times over.
God knows how many times over.
But it was kind of thing. It was really satisfying. Fresh superhero world created where there wasn't 5 decades of palaver.
It could be a fresh start. There's a lot to be said for it, for creating something completely new. Yeah, I think I've not really been keeping up, but I do wonder how well Marvel and DC are doing monetarily wise these days, especially with the.
It sometimes feels to me, when back in the old days when you could go into a shop, when I used to pop down the comic store, it used to seem to me that all that was going on was Marvel and DC. Like, that's all people, because it's especially given that, like, they've been churning out Marvel movies, that's got Marvel on everyone's radar. You know, let's say you were someone that thought comics were probably cool, but you didn't even know where to start. You watch a bunch of MCU movies, and then you feel like you're equipped to start, like, diving into all these characters, you know? Or you've met some characters and you want more, and so you go looking and getting into it. So I can see how the MCU, and you know, to a lesser extent, maybe Justice League and whatnot. And of course, there's going to be all the people, all the nerds that say, oh, well, I don't want to go, like, mainstream, whatever, you know, I'm not into all the flashy Marvel stuff, so I'm going to deliberately go DC to be, like, alternative. I don't know if that's a thing, but I could see someone deliberately getting into, I don't know, Green Arrow so as to seem like, they're not just a Spider-Man guy,
Yeah,
But I realise as I say that a little bit, I'm sat here displaying comics, and there's Marvel and DC are all relegated to the lower shelves. I don't want, when I talk about comics, I don't want people to think that I'm just a superhero Marvel DC nut. Like, there's a lot more stuff out there than just Marvel and DC. Like Image. There's a lot more other than Marvel and DC, and Robert Kirkman's written like 65% of it.
Derek is Rexplode. Or Derek from The Good Place.
Who also played the crazy cop in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
What's his name in that? Yeah, he's Rexplode.
Yeah, I could be down with that.
Yeah, he's got. I think it might be a bit strange hearing his voice. It depends how he voices Rexplode, but there are moments where his sort of signature manic energy could definitely come through.
Oh god, yeah, Rexplode always had a bit of that going on. My question is, who's voicing Robot? And later on in the series, will Derek take over the job of voicing Robot?
Good question. Very good question. Well, it's another even more famous, probably, actor voicing Robot in Zachary Quinto.
Good old Quinto. Yeah, he'll be cool, calm, calculated. Yeah, but will Zachary Quinto get the boot halfway through or whenever it is?
Who knows? I mean, they could, of course, keep Zachary Quinto around to do the robot voice effects.
Yes, because when it's robots,
then
you get Zachary Quinto. But whenever it's like robots himself, that would be interesting actually. Because like I tell you, like when you do like body switch stuff, but you keep your voice. Like I don't mind body switch stuff, and you keep your voice for the audience to keep track, but everybody else is perceiving it as it should be. But like, I think it's better, and I think it's a greater testament to actor skill when you do like a body swap and you don't change voice. If we were going to body swap, I would then have to talk Bradley in my voice, but just how you'd say it. And then that's the trick there is, I guess you'd have to listen, you're listening to the other person's inflections and word choice and all of this. I mean, I think one of the best versions of that I've seen in recent years is the Community episode.
Yeah, it was literally the example I was thinking of, the one where Troy and Abitz do the Freaky Friday body swap.
Such a good job of portraying each other's characters. Like,
yeah, it really was good.
But that's not comics, though.
No, it's not. It's not. But we've talked a bit about Invincible as well. I need to stop thinking. I'm excited for it. That's all. Can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, oh yeah, animated Invincible.
Animated superheroes, like, I don't know if we talked about it last time, but I know I've mentioned it to you. Watching the Batman Soul of the Dragon it just reminds me that, you know what, superheroes and comics generally transition really, really well to animation. Like it is a natural fit. And live action, I can see the mainstream appeal, but
it does convert really, really well, because you're not limited. Comics aren't limited at all. Just what can you draw it, then you can do it. And this is it. In reality, it's like, what can you draw it? Yes, but can we then make it in reality without it looking
shockingly bad?
Yeah, or just weird or confusing. I'm trying to think of something, even like a Wolverine's claws, like schnickety. Like,
oh yeah, well, that is a good example you bring up, because several films they get it right. It looks really good, and then there's X-Men Wolverine Origins.
Oh, is that the bone claw one?
I mean, the bone claws look
Okay.
fine. It's the
How do
CGI
you
ones they
feel?
added in.
How do you feel about the fact that we eventually and actually got Wolverine's actual origin story?
I mean, I I personally enjoy it. I I don't know. In many ways, he's a character who doesn't need it, and he's always been set up to not need an origin story because he's had his mind wiped and played with so many times that who knows. But having a concrete sort of canon, this is Wolverine's origin and how he's linked to Sabretooth, is good. Like I enjoyed it. It's a good story. It's maybe somewhat unnecessary. I don't know how asked for by the fans it was, of which I am one. But you know,
I imagine it's the kind of thing where the fans are all demanding it, and when they got it, they're no, we hate it. What? But then
yeah,
that's classic
fans.
humor for you.
Yeah,
And no, this is why I sometimes don't mind. Sometimes I don't mind not having an ending, like because it's not going to be satisfying. Uh,
endings
and
rarely are.
or some mysteries can be left mysteries, like leave you wondering, give you something to. I'm
Something to
looking.
speculate
We're looking
about.
around for inspiration of something that's left us with some delightful mysteries.
Sandman.
Oh, that was tight. Sandman was right. Within maybe not within, maybe about a year. I mean, like covered like end to end. Like it. God, it's good. Seriously, for anyone out there watching for comics, the Sandman can't go wrong. Anyone that reads the Sandman and says, "Well, I didn't enjoy that at all," like, well, I probably wouldn't bother with comics so much. Like, it's one of the it's got to be one of like the magnum opuses of comics. Like, if you want to sort of if you're going to uplift just a few different things to be examples of the medium that will stand the test of time and always be relevant. Hello. Oh,
Oh.
wait a sec. I'm gonna use my I'll be back screen. Give me a sec.
And I'll sit here like a lemon.
What's that mean? Hey, that's the top. Brad, can you hear me talk? Just we're chatting, yeah.
Yeah,
But on my stream, it should just be "I'm coming back." I'm
it
very
was.
tempted.
I checked. It is.
So I will zoom back to. I've done a scene transition.
Ooh
Uh,
la, smooth.
so where are we on? Oh, okay, well then here you go. Right, here's our next challenge for the moment. We've got to pick out, I don't know, a couple of comics. That's just trying to think of, like like I'm just saying, like Sandman. It's kind of a must read. It's an amazing example of a fantastic thing. It shows what comics can be, kind of thing. If you've got here you go. If you've got someone sort of poo-pooing comics a bit, saying, "Well, are they really that good? Isn't it just superheroes bashing each other all the time?" Like, along with Sandman, what might you show them to make them realize that
To
comics can be goddamn art?
mouse.
Right. Okay, Mouse. Let's talk about Mouse. So let me get it off the shelf. You see if you can pull up a thing of it. Shit, where's Mouse? I feel like it's down here. Yes, here, got it. Got it. Mouse. By Art Spiegelman. So, yes. So, yeah, anyone the heroes kicking, punching each other, absolutely give them Mouse. So, yeah, go read this if you want some.
That's not ideal. Stop doing
Great,
that.
that's boom ting answer. Those of you that don't know what Mouse is it's by Art Spiegelman, and it's a true story kind of thing. He
Yeah,
was
it's sort of based on conversations with his dad, isn't it?
Yeah, so the book takes place in two different times. The present day, what Art is the writer and illustrator, is talking to his father, and like conversations with his father. And then in the other time of the book, his father is a young man during the Holocaust. You might have guessed from the swastika going on that there's something to do with Nazis. And yet his father was a Jew in the Holocaust, in the camps. You know, he had. You know,
We say Jewish people.
Sorry?
We say Jewish people.
We do say Jewish. I'm very sorry.
His father was a Jewish person.
Father was a Jewish person, and he got Holocausted, survived obviously, and so, and there's a lot of like Art Spiegelman getting very frustrated with the day for being who he is and the way he behaves, but equally kind of having a deep, like hearing his father's stories of the Holocaust, gaining a deep why, but still being irritated by it. And it's quite, at times it's quite a harrowing edition of like this actual guy's experiences in the war.
And it's sort of presented quite family friendly with the mice and the cats and everything, but harrowing is the word at times.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, it's very real. It's not. So you watch some I don't know, Second World War thing where there's it's obviously the Second World War happened, but you're watching something fictitious set in the Second World War. Maybe it's not quite as harrowing, but when you're thinking this is somebody's dad. This is
it's a lot closer to home.
Just some random dude, and this is what just a guy had to put up with. He wasn't like a soldier or a hero or someone that had chosen to go out and participate. It was just some Jewish dude who had some very had the experiences of camps and such. Like, but no, it's as you say, all family friendly. So all the Jewish people are mice. I believe the French people are frogs. The Germans are all cats. I think the English get to be dogs.
I can't remember.
And oh, wait a minute. There's a pig here. I wonder what. But yeah, all the different nationalities, all the different people. But I forget who pigs are.
It's not Italians, is it?
I don't know. I've just flicked open to a page and there is a pig, but I don't know what's what. And I think as well I have a real soft spot for black and white. Like I certainly there is most definitely a place in my heart for just black and white. Like you said about Bone being coloured and weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem odd seeing it in colour.
Yeah, well, it is. Like, it would no, like front covers only. Thank you very much. And even then, it doesn't transpose to what's going on in the book. It's in black and white. But maybe I think, like, especially for something like Mouse, like you put it in just stark black and white, going on, and it comes back to that less is more kind of element.
Yeah.
if you're conveying it in just a few brushstrokes and no color, and it's a lot, maybe it's a lot more raw, or it's you've got to be a lot more, maybe the art that in the art you've got to be a lot more focused because you've got less to work with perhaps, and so you've got to make it
You've got to,
like
yeah. You. It's one of those fun little contradictions in as much as sometimes having to work within limitations causes you to be more creative because you've got to work with what you've got.
110% agree. I find if you sit down and say be creative, make something up, I get got nothing, nothing. But the minute that you lay down some constraints, the minute that you start putting boundaries to it, so this is the creative space you have to work within. Suddenly, like, right, okay, well, let's grab these couple of threads you've given me, see how we can together and connect them in a fun way to something new. This was why when I used to write, I used to say to people, give me three, give me three things, and I'll make a one-page story involving those three things. Because then that was the challenge of how to.
Yeah.
But then maybe this is where I say, in a weird way, you could say that all creativity needs some fundamental building blocks. Like you say to an artist, you've got these three colors to work with. Now create, and I go, right. What can I do with this? How can I, turn these base forms? Authors, they've got these words. They're the like the constraints, and then they can see what they can do with how they could. A little bit, maybe I now kind of get distracted by that used to make up words that fit his needs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It would,
Yeah. Like
have a definition, but it would make self feel right in context.
yeah, it would yeah, with the context you understood exactly what it was.
Well, and that's the only way I managed to read Clockwork Orange. I don't know if you've ever tried, but
Yeah, I've not given it a good effort, but I've definitely glanced through the pages and yeah, saw what he was doing.
yeah, don't like when I first read it. I every time I hit a word that was just I forget what the name of the language is. I want to say it's like Nadchak or something, or Nadchak. I don't know, something like that. But in the back they had a glossary of terms, and so I'd be like, read, check the glossary, okay, another couple of sentences, and check the glossary, and again, and eventually I was like, you know what, sod this, I'm just going to read it, and if I don't entirely know what's going on, hopefully I'll work it out in a bit. After maybe there was a few pages, but after a time, there definitely came a point by where I was just reading the book, and once you kind of get into it, you just sort of flow with it. It might not make literal
Perfect
sense,
sense.
you know
But
what he's going.
you
You get the
yeah.
you get the gist.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And that's the most important thing, communicating sort of I was about to say non-verbally, but it's it is non-verbally, you're not literally communicating exactly what's going on, but you're creating the enough context and atmosphere that your theatre of the mind creates the scene for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. I
But
need to
now
go
thinking
get some
about
squash.
think made me kind of made me thought about thinking about like in comics, what do I was thinking, is there any examples of people making up nonsense words? But I thought, oh no, you know what you can do in comics when you want to start doing that kind of stuff is that's when you start having fun with speech bubbles.
Well, yeah, speech bubbles, lettering in general, isn't it? Lettering, word
That's
effects.
another important thing that comics has over regular novels. Yes, I will acknowledge regular novels can and have had text which is in different font or whatever. Let's use Terry Pratchett, Death as an example. He just speaks all caps, no punctuation, no nothing, just boom.
Well, another Pratchett example is in Masquerade. You won't have got it because you listened to the audiobook, but in Masquerade, when Agnes Nitt is doing her sort of stage performance to get onto the chorus, and she does her various tricks with ventriloquism, so she sends her voice literally across the page.
oh, they ask her. Then they ask her like, they ask her something in musical terms, like, can you pitch your voice or something? And she thinks she doesn't realize they mean pitch. She thinks she means pitch, and she's like, oh, okay. And she like does proper ventriloquism. What the hell? Can you sing in harmony with myself? Yeah, of course.
That's yeah. Nanny says that's pretty difficult, but yeah, I can do it. Squash. It's nice and refreshing. Maybe it's time for a biscuit. Oh, it's already starting to get dark.
Yeah, no, I just realised that what light there is fading. You can see that this half is all dark. But it's alright. I've got the fading light coming in this way. Light to see the dark side. I think no, if you want to like get those kind of different tones and inflections and stuff and this kind of thing, like comics has the opportunity of can really go mad with lettering and speech bubbles and such like a lot more. It's got a lot more options than regular literature for that stuff to indicate a different thing going on. I'm trying to think now. Death would be my immediate example of literature. I'm kind of thinking of something that immediately springs to my mind for, exciting text or speech bubbles.
I'm sure we could come up with someone.
Well, I'm kind of cheating in that I want to say Godland by Sciobra, illustrated by Scioli, but I'm very aware that I'm only aware of that because I just thought. But I'm pretty sure in Godland, like every other character has speech balloon sort of coloured to their colour. Wait a minute, let me check this. And I'm going to turn the light. Let's get some luminescence. Check out what am I trying to talk about? Godland.
Yeah.
Although I think Godland didn't conclude. I said I don't mind having endings. Yeah, I rescind that entirely. Godland. I'm pretty sure Godland didn't end, and I was into that.
I'd like an ending.
Here you go. So, flick to the middle of the first book of Godland immediately. Look how many different kind of speech bubbles are going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more common in comics.
Soft edge ones. So not just colouring the bubbles. You can have you can colour the bubbles. You can have different fonts. You can have different shape bubbles. Like you got, I feel like there's another one that I'm not thinking of, but there's so much you can do with that. Versatility. I feel like I'm preaching to the converted. Where did mouse come from? Bug.
Oh. There was something I heard about today. I've got some MCU / comics superhero movie news, as it were. I heard / read an article today that it's rumoured that Henry Cavill of Superman, Geralt of Rivia fame, is interested in playing the role of Brian Braddock, who you should be able to place in the Marvel universe. Sister of Betsy Braddock.
Give me a second. It's like I feel like I should know.
You should know.
The problem is that my mind immediately went to one place and I was like, no, that's not right. But now I'm also a little bit stuck trying to think, what was the real name of the Sentry?
Oh, what was his real name? I want to say Dan or Dave, something.
So I was thinking like Rob or something.
Robert. It's definitely Robert something.
It's not Rob Roberts, is it? Like I know that they
No.
Robert. Sugar. What was Brian Braddock's sister?
Betsy. You have Betsy or Betty Braddock?
See,
She goes by another name.
yeah, no, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's Matt Murdock.
That's Daredevil.
Such alliterative name.
No.
And you know why they all have alliterative names, don't you?
Alliteration sounds good.
To an extent, Stan Lee said that he just found it like easier to keep track of everybody's name.
Yeah.
Sugar, no, tell me. Kick myself so hard.
Captain.
It's not Captain Britain. Yeah.
Of course it is.
Okay. Right, I didn't feel totally bad because, like, he's not like.
He's not mainstream, no.
Not the biggest. Yeah, I can feel.
Got a special place in my heart.
What? Because he's British or because he's an alcoholic?
Because he's British.
Good old Captain Britain.
But
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty unlikely to happen. I mean, come on, he's been Superman for like a decade, so it'd be.
To the Marvel side. Ultimately, every actor is in the end. Like by the time the MCU is done, every actor is going to have been someone in the MCU.
Yeah, but I just feel it'd be too much of a feather in the cap of Marvel to have the previous Superman be now acting in the MCU. You know.
Oh, but they'd have to like whoever they make Henry Cavill, part of me got to find a way to like slightly dunk on Superman, or somehow have a line delivered to Captain. It's like, well, Superman, are you? Like, so we can all go, but Henry Cavill.
In other comics related news or events, One Piece episode 1000, or issue 1000 I should say, came out the other week. 1000.
Still going. Haven't they found the One Piece yet?
We are currently in the midst of a rather large battle, rather built up to, and obviously issue 1000 is chock full of awesome moments and genius little sight gags and whatnot. But 1000. That's it's a juggernaut. It's been going for like 25 years.
No way.
If not longer. Yeah, I want to say at least 25 years. It might be 26 now. Let me check. How long? Yeah.
Seriously, if One Piece has been going for 25 years, like, that deserves some respect. Like, that's a long time.
Based on the ever longer running manga by Eiichiro Oda, the One Piece anime. I don't care about the anime. Running manga.
Do you not care about One Piece the anime?
Well, it's not that I don't care about it. It's just that I read the manga. Oh, okay. The actual One Piece manga has been going on for more than 20 years. And that came out when? It won't tell me. How long has One Piece been around? Came out and has been coming out ever since 4th of August 1997. So it's 24 years. Sorry, nearly 25 years.
Like, there's been some people that've had some real investment in that.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, and this is it. I came to the party late. Like, I very much enjoy it, but I'm not overly invested. But there's going to be a generation of kids, I mean, One Piece was part of the Mighty Three back in the day.
What,
Like,
One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach?
yeah, like, and those two fallen off,
Were
finished.
those,
Although Bleach is
those,
supposedly coming back.
were those the big three?
Yeah.
See, I tell you what, of those, I would say Bleach is probably the weakest on account of I couldn't tell you the name of anyone in Bleach. Whereas Naruto, I know that that's his name, and I know that he's and that Sasuke is the emo guy that the ladies. And I know about Rock Lee, and so there you go. And for One Piece, it's a bit different, like because I have actually watched like
Many
100
episodes.
episodes of it. I think I got to the time skip. I think I got just the other side of the time skip, but then I think I got a girlfriend.
Hey, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who have a girlfriend who also watch One Piece. I know of at least one in France. Not even a girlfriend; it's his wife.
No, but this is it though. Like I always sort of that kind of stuff I've always shied away from because I know that if I started buying One Piece books, yeah, how many that's a hell of an investment.
It really
I don't
is.
mind. I don't mind working my way through the whole of Dragon Ball Z. You product.
Well, hang on then. Let's return to you and your bold claim of Bleach being the weakest of the three there. I mean, depends. I'd say very much depends. Of those three, I would say Bleach is probably my favourite, personally speaking. I wouldn't argue best, but personally, it's probably my favourite.
When I say the weakest, I meant maybe in terms of like public awareness or general popularity or whatnot. Like I would have
Permeation of pop culture.
One Piece was the biggest, then Naruto, then Bleach. Like, you see kids running along Naruto style, but you don't see kids like I can't think of any sort of tropes from Bleach. Whereas sort of Naruto and One Piece, I can see people of like take the mickey or look at Dragon Ball Z Abridged. How when Goku wakes up from his coma, he's had a ninja dream and a dream. But I didn't even know what they do in Bleach. Like, I'm aware that Bleach was huge and popular, and yes, deserves its place the big three back in the day.
Yeah.
But like,
Bleach at its best, I feel, was easily as good as One Piece is. Story strength wise and character wise. Problem is, like, yeah, it just ended up sort of the first big arc, the Soul Society one, was the best in many ways, and it just sort of got repeated for the Arrancar arc, but drawn out. I mean, there were some cool additions, but the end, the end never got animated. And yeah, apparently the I don't know if it's 100% happening or if talks are engaged for it to be happening, but yeah, there's hopefully going to be the animated end of Bleach, which means a return of one of my favourite characters in all of fiction, Kenpachi Zarakai. Yay. He's a beast.
I thought, favourite characters in all of fiction. I mean, even if it's not comics, favourite characters in comics. And as I glance over, like I'm looking at my screen to see the books, I thought, favourite. Who would I pick? Actually, they already have an immediate and very strong answer for a favourite character in fiction.
Yeah, Rincewind.
No.
Mal Reynolds. Daigoro.
Not Daigoro. I mean, Daigoro is actually, yeah, Daigoro. He is wicked beans.
Yeah.
It's when he makes the choice. This is what makes Ito such an amazing dude. Brad, while I'm ranting about this, can you please try and find the image of Daigoro making the choice? Thank you.
Yeah,
right,
let's have a quick look.
Right, Lone Wolf. We're talking about Lone Wolf and Cub. It's right. If you're gonna think you know all about Japanese manga and know your manga roots and your manga works of manga and such, like Lone Wolf and Cub. It's a story of Ronin samurai and his son as they go about their journeys. It's their story to keep it as concise possibly going on in like 28 books of excellence. But without wishing to spoil, welcome. This is all Spoilersville here. But without wishing to spoil too much, so Ogami Ito gives his son a choice. Ogami, he's lone wolf. Ogami Ito, his wife dies, and he's gonna get some revenge about this. But he's got a 3-year-old son. Well, what does he do with this 3-year-old son? What does he do? He gives his 3-year-old son. He can can join his mother if he chooses the ball, or he can go with his father if he chooses sword. And like, what kind of nutter says to a 3-year-old, your choice? Like, he doesn't know what he's choosing, but he does in his heart or soul. But Daigoro makes his choice.
Image. I'm just gonna
How you doing
add.
there? Got a juicy image of it.
Oh no, added the wrong image. Remove. Yes. Where is it? Oh, how?
What? Why is like when I type in Daigoro makes his choice? Why is The Simpsons the first thing Do I have to write Ito to really make them know what I want?
There, I've got it up on my screen. Between our heads.
If I just type in. Oh, here we go. Yep, here we go. Here we go. So let's how do I bring it up on my screen? This one. Go live. So we look up here, and I'm gonna make this one the biggest. I'm gonna make it go biggest. Focus. So it's not. Oh no! Click. Maybe if I can. I'm not sure if I can zoom in. But as you see here, we've got this is Ogami. This is his son Daigoro over here, and he's saying, "Hey Daigoro, choose. Go with your mother, or with your father." Daigoro's 3.
I mean, you can argue that he's maybe not making the most informed of decisions, what with being 3.
But then this is it. Like, there's also that element of, it's coming from the heart or the soul or whatnot. But what gets me is, and this is the thing that I think maybe when Daigoro makes his choice with the sword and goes with his father and walks the road Mefumido, the road to hell. What gets me is, if Daigoro had chosen the ball to join with his mother, like, what Ogami Ito would have done, right? Like, yeah, Ogami Ito would have, if his son had chosen that ball, he would 100% have killed his son. But it was Daigoro's choice. I feel like maybe this isn't necessarily the best advertisement for Ogami Ito as the best character in fiction. Dude that's totally prepared to kill his son.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an extreme level of ruthlessness in him. Oh, Ito. It's been a long time since I read any Lone Wolf.
I read some. I read like a third of it, maybe, at some point in too distant past. And yeah, I forgot how utterly captivating it is. Although I'm pretty sure that the last time I was a lot more focused on Ito's character. I noted the most recent time I read it, I was look at his life, it's when he gets separated from his dad and some people find him and they try and feed him, give him some rice because he's a kid, he's hungry, he needs some, and they're confused because the kid won't eat. because all Daigoro's seen is that you get nothing without paying for it. You don't accept any charity. You you stand on your own 2 feet, kind of thing. It's this entire self-reliance, and the criminals are there going, because these guys that are trying to that found him, they're saying like, why won't he eat, man? He needs to eat, otherwise he won't be able to work for us, because we're going to put him to work being like this little, I don't know, pocket thief or something. But they said how they were gonna put him to work. Basically, the second that he hears that they need him to eat because he's going to be working for them, Daigoro sees it as this is payment for servicing, and he starts eating. Such a weird kid.
Give me a second. Got to turn my lamp on.
I'm sorry. Entirely sorry. You've sent it over. You've sent over the page. Of course you don't, Daigoro. Of course you don't. Right, how do I want to figure out a way where I can just have this one image just full on in the middle of everything to show everyone.
So where it says sources, you want to add a source, and there should be an option for like image.
Ooh, image slideshow. Image!
I'm watching your Twitch now, so I'll be able to report back.
Excellent. Browse. But I haven't saved it, so what good is that? Wait, let me go back and get rid of this. And yes, I want to remove it. Right, just go back to here. Right, we save image. And Daigoro, save. Right, and then we will do this image. Okay, browse. Pickies, Daigoro, open. Okay. Boom, so.
Hey.
Can you see it?
Yep, top left. Yeah.
Sorry, no, I've just realised that I'm looking at it on my stream and thinking, it's there on my stream, but it's big screen, why not? Tell I'm really flipping high tech, can't you? Right, let's lock it to
Hey, we're both learning by doing.
So here we go. There it is, nicely on the stream, and I'm going to bring it up nice and big for me. Daigoro, of course you don't understand. Not your father's words, nor what your future holds, but the blood of the Ogami clan. But the blood of the Ogami clan, that vein blood in your body will choose. Look, Daigoro. Jump. So he's not even explaining. He's not even explaining Daigoro. Ball, sword, you work it out. Choose Daigoro, and look how serious he looks. And look at this art. Like, right, manga nowadays, it's very, like, I don't know how to put this without sort of a little bit, maybe I'm not hugely deep in my, I'm not immersed in the manga bucket, but manga art nowadays seems to be quite, like, clean and simple and very easily digestible. I'm not making any criticism here. Jump up. So One Punch Man is some of the most recent manga that I'm reading coming out. And as I'm trying to look for just a straightforward page, so like here you go, just bang into a page. Like, it's fairly straightforward. And actually, as I was flicking through, I was a bit, but it's easy, it's digestible. Okay, that's a bit, going on and ooh la la and whatnot. But if I was to grab Dragon Ball Z, older, but it's not digestible. This stuff they've got going on here. I suppose I need to lean this way. Like this stuff. Am I even doing it right? Let me see if I'm even doing it right. This stuff here. It's so good. Like it's It's like the artistic equivalent of not dumbing it down for you.
I'm just searching for an example of a more modern manga series, which I think would be more. Yeah. If I can find a decent.
Go away. You're gonna remove it? Yes. Hey, but now I know all I have to do is just like get a huge pile of images, and I can just start scrolling up the images. But that's when I'll have to start like peering around the side of the.
Not the link.
Although now I know how to do that, it just makes me wonder what silly things I can do. Lone Wolf and Cub. The artwork is not there to hold your hand. Like it's. But then nothing worth having.
Right. There you go. I should, or you can just check out my stream, but I'll send it over. That's from Berserk. I forget the artist and writer's name, but
your stream for me is just spinny loading.
Well, I've sent it to you over Discord as well, so you can check it out there. But I mean, he's notorious for taking long breaks between issues being released. Like I think generally it seems the fandom are happy if they get like 4 new issues a year. Well, happy is maybe not the right word.
So that everyone can see the lovely thing we're chatting about. Okie dokie. Rails. Gotta obviously sort of choose the word. What am I looking for? What am I doing? What did I say that as? There it is.
Berserk.
Pop. Okay. Fine. Right. Let's make it big on the screen. So all my guys are just looking at this. What are we looking at this? Or just the detail in it.
Yeah.
He looks like he's going pretty Conan.
Berserk's not the name of the series because he's got a genteel personality.
Gee whiz.
But then that's an up-close one. The second one I've got, which I'll send over to you as well, is more of a sort of scene setting. I think it was a double-page spread, but like again, the detail is pretty off the chain.
Splash page. Oh golly, gosh. Berserk 2. Pictures. Bam.
He's got a little face there under his mouth, I've just noticed. Want to become famous? Buy followers. Turns out that you can report these people, these bots that turn up in your chat asking if you want to become famous. I've taken just to reporting them as spam and blocking them.
There you go, everybody. Have a good look at that massive picture. So is this from Berserk, is it?
Yeah. Something Mimura.
Like the one on the left that sort of looks like a whale with elephant's feet. tiny
Yeah.
little face down here.
Yeah, I'd only just noticed that.
Yeah, but then, and this was it, as I was starting to try and slate a lot of manga for being fairly simplistic in its giving you my grab
But-
One Punch Man to prove my point, and the first few pages I saw, I was
Actually,
like,
not bad.
It's quite a lot going on there, actually. Maybe I'm being unfair.
Ooh. Oh, 20 to 5. Right. I think possibly calling an end to the stream for now.
Yep, we chatted some stuff about comics.
We did. You even did some casting for comics. Hey.
We figured out that we want Rock to voice to play Alan the Alien.
In the live action, yeah, and I do quite want that actually. You know, the more it was thrown out there, but I very quickly warmed to the idea.
I think maybe one day we need to keep like a full on list of everything we've decided. Yes, we're happy with.
Yeah.
Always, whenever we accidentally discover a new cast, we can add it to show everyone. Be like, look, here's the list so far.
Yeah. How many have we got? Half dozen.
People go through and be like, what? How that's no good, or
Yeah, contentious choices.
Yeah, like, and as much as I'm not like totally convinced it needs to be all about cast comics, I do quite enjoy the occasion. I quite like the idea of if each stream would cast thing, and then in a year's time we'll be ready to help out Hollywood by having done their jobs for them.
In a year's time, we'll be able to see if any of our predictions have come true.
Well, maybe 2 years, because it's going to take a year before.
I found out WandaVision's only got 9 episodes.
Really? Because there was a wonder there.
9 episodes. The first 3 are about half hour in length, and after that, it's varying length apparently. What?
See, this is like against TV chat, but I could bang on about like Netflix have done this like a lot. Like, they're definitely with the advent of streaming and the no longer required to fill into like the television advert formula or whatever.
You can finish telling the story when you want.
Imagine that. Right, well, shall we make our tatars?
Yes. So this has been Casting Comics for the second time.
Yeah, with Brad.
And him. I think you're pointing the wrong way.
Probably only going to be right half the time.
Yeah, correct. That way. Wait. Ciao for now.